Here's how I came to the conclusion that, oh no, you're not gonna get a Shelby, you're not gonna get a 5-point, you're gonna get an O3 Cobra. And it was based on this. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and thank you for tuning in into another video. As you can see, we're making a little bit of a different video today, and we're gonna be talking about where does my passion for the 2003 and 2004 Mustang Cobra, the Terminator Cobra, actually comes from. You know, I wanted to share a little bit of my story because I feel like you guys, obviously I don't know all of you, but we're friends because we have something that unites us, and that is a car passion. So this is a video that I wanted to make for some time now. Wanted to make this video and I didn't know. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this setup. It's my first time recording here in my garage.
Just bought this new Lamborghini here.
I've always wanted to kind of record in my garage. I think it's a pretty cool space to use to record. So if you guys enjoy it, let me know. Also, it's very important to me to record talking next to the Cobra, because this car for so long, for me, it was a dream. And sometimes dreams might seem out of reach and might seem like, you know, they're unattainable. And this car, for me, for many years, this car was definitely unattainable. And just, it's it's kind of mind-blowing that I have this car. So I'm very appreciative of the fact that I do have this car, and you know, I don't take it for granted. So a little bit of about my story. I was born in Cuba, 1991. Now, if you know anything about Cuba, Cuba is a communist country. Everything is like frozen in time. All the cars are all 1950s. There's no freedom of speech. Obviously, you guys probably know that. Not to get too political, but I was born in Cuba. The 90s in Cuba was tough. I mean, there wasn't pretty much no food. People were literally hungry, because even if you had money, you couldn't buy food. So it was a rough time. Grew up in a family where I lived with my grandmother, my uncle, one uncle, another uncle with his wife, and we all lived on a house because my parents, we couldn't afford a house back then. I mean, obviously in Cuba, and toys were a problem. And had very little toys growing up, and this is not to make you, you know, like feel bad. It's just a little bit of my story. So the point that I'm trying to tell you guys is that I grew up in a country that having a car was pretty much like, I don't know, like here, like hitting the lotto, pretty much. Not many people had cars, and the people who had cars were from generations of cars. Like, you say your grandfather passed away and they'll leave you a car, but I had no one in my family had cars. So I grew up and I love cars since I was a little kid. I remember I used to live on an avenue, and I used to sit around and I would always see cars passing by. I used to say, play again with my friends, be like, that car is mine. We will build like rosters of like teams, and I'll be like, no, you remember that car? No, I don't want that car anymore. I want this car. And just the thought that there was a chance of me growing up not being able to ever buy a car, to have my own car, it was just devastating even as a kid. Because I knew I have this passion for cars, but I might not be able to ever own a car. So that was challenging even as a kid. But thank goodness, my grandfather is here. Which, Grandpa, if you get to see this video, thank you. He was the one who claimed my dad. My dad obviously had me, only child. My mother, so we came to this country, which it was, I don't want to talk about it, but it was very emotional coming to this country. As you guys know, anytime that you're an immigrant, this is the country of opportunities, and you guys know that. And It was, yeah, it was very very emotional coming here. I remember as soon as the plane landed, I was just fixed at the window, just looking at cars and being like, wow, oh my God. As soon as we go home, I was just fixed. I mean, just my brain was mind blown with so many cars. Like in Cuba, there's cars, but nowhere near the amount of traffic that it is here. And just the fact that cars here had AC, nice radio. But coming from where I'm coming from, it was it was crazy. It was, guys, it was crazy. So let me get a sip. So came to the United States in 2003. I want to say within a month of being here, I watched the movie Too Fast, Too Furious. As soon as I saw that movie, remember I had a passion from Cuba for cars. As soon as I saw that movie, I was like, oh my God, those are exactly the cars that I want. I wanted either a Skyline, a Supra, or a Mitsubishi Eclipse, which obviously was the cheapest car, the cars that cost the least amount of money. And the most common car that I will see all over Miami, everywhere. I will see a lot of Eclipse. I love that car, that green Eclipse with the lights, the exhaust. And I remember me going around, I was probably 12, and I used to ride my bike around, my neighborhood. I used to peek on the window of cars. Okay, whatever car says that the speedo goes to 100, let's say for it's 160 miles, and the next one goes to 180, that car was faster just because the speedo said that it would go faster. So those things as a kid, obviously you don't know. And you want to know what's funny? I didn't like Mustangs. Hated them. Didn't like Mustangs because they were American muscles. I was all about imports. But there was a friend of mine who used to live on the building where I lived, that he was obsessed with Mustangs. Obsessed. And he used to always talk trash about imports, and he used to tell me, man, those V8s on those cars really go fast. You just listen to the sound. And back then, where around my neighborhood where I used to live, there was a bunch of two-off Mustangs. A bunch of them. And you know about those cars sound really, really good. So it kind of piqued my interest in listening to them and seeing what it's all about. I remember peeking into the window of a Mustang and seeing that, oh man, this car is trash. This car only goes to 120 miles per hour. I was like, what the hell is this? This goes the same as a Toyota Corolla. And I didn't know the difference. That was a Mustang V6. And then I remember peeking into the window of probably like a 96 or 98 GT, so on the 150. I was like, yeah, this is a little bit faster, but still, the Eclipse goes to 160 and the Skyline goes to like 180. This is so slow. I mean, and then, but I want to say by '05, my father bought a Camaro, V6 Camaro, nothing special, automatic. And one day, I was excited about the Camaro, but I really didn't like Camaros all that much. If anything, I was starting to pique a little bit of interest on the Mustangs. So I remember clearly, we were at a stoplight, and this V6 Mustang. I remember the color. It was blue. Pull up next to us, and on green light, it was like an old 03. I kind of remember the rims, and on the green light he went. And my dad never races, but he smashed it. He went full throttle. Bro, this Mustang V6 just gave us such a gap. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but even the hood of the Mustang V6, the new Edge, is a little bit bulgy. And that Mustang just took off, and I was like, oh my God. YouTube is merging by '05. It's coming up. Another thing, I almost forgot this. A neighbor, I want to say, of the building had a 5.0 Mustang in '92. And he used to take us around and give us rides. And I remember the torque of that car. The torque was something unbelievable. I was like, how the hell does this thing put me on the seat so much? like pushes back. So by 05 and 06, videos of these cars start merging on the internet. I don't know if you guys seen this video. If you like Cobras, you probably have the black Terminator snake. Let me show you because you need to see snake bite too. That video. If you've seen that video, you see the monstrosity that came along. Start watching videos of this car. The insane sound of the supercharger. And I became fixated with these cars. And they were rare. I mean, you didn't see that many. Obviously, you will see more than you see now. But every time I saw one on the street, I used to think, man, that's a fast car. I remember this convertible Mustang video of a 03, was it 03 or 04? Not quite sure. Probably 03. Silver Racing Seal 6. C5 Seal 6. They go to SVT forums, and he's asking to raise a Corvette C5 all stock with a convertible pulley Cobra. And bro, this Cobra just gaps the hell out of this Corvette. Just takes. Video 03 Cobra versus a Viper. Viper at that point is an exotic car. I mean, it's not, remember back then we didn't have Instagram, we didn't have all this social media where you get to see a lot of these cars, and people really didn't blog about cars back then. You might see them on a video, rarely on occasion, and then out of nowhere this black, I want to say black 03 Cobra comes and gaps by 3-4 cars with just a pulley, gaps this Viper, an 06 Viper. And I was like, oh my god, I really want a Mustang, especially a Terminator, but Terminator's out of my reach. I'm in high school at that point in 2006. I think I'm a freshman or sophomore, and I'm like, I want this car. This is the car that I really want. The 05 model came out, and I truly didn't like it that much. I like the new-ish body style. It's a little bit smaller, and I don't know, it just looked better. The new-ish just looked better. So my father works at back then he used to work for a towing company. And that towing company had a contract with FHP, Florida Highway Patrol. One day we're home and he gets a call. When they call him, is FHP for an FHP call is whether an accident or an arrest, one of the two. So we get dispatched to Palmetto, famous highway on Miami, and we're pulling up, and I see this Trans Am with a black Terminator Cobra pulled to the side. I was like, oh my God. So what happened was that they caught the Cobra and the Trans Am racing. FHP caught them and arrested both drivers and towed away both cars. So I was saying to God, God, please let us take the Terminator. And what happened?
Jesus, take the wheel, right?
We end up taking the Terminator. And all of a sudden, this car that I've been idolizing on YouTube for so long and watching so many videos, I have it on the back of the bed. And I know this car is a killer. I know there's nothing on the road in 2006 probably quicker than that car. I mean, maybe, yeah, sure, a C606, but where are you seeing those cars? Those cars just came out at an MSRP of $76,000. No way. No way. It's the Terminator we have on the back of the bed of the truck, of the tow truck. And I'm explaining to my dad, I'm like, Dad, do you know what we have on the back? He said, yeah, we have a Mustang Cobra. Like, no, this is not a Mustang Cobra. We have a Terminator on the back. You know what that means? We have, and I start going off and explaining to him how fast it is, how it beats Corvettes, how it beats Viper. And my dad seeing the enthusiasm, the excitement on my voice. He noticed that I'm going crazy, lusting after this car. So when we get to the yard, he brings down the bed and he's like, you know what? You're going to pull it in the jar. So here I am at, I want to say 14, driving my dream car. Because at that point, that was already my dream car, 14. The bed was like this. Get on the Cobra, turn it on. Boom, 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 boom. Listen to the exhaust. Reverse, back it down, go forward. I didn't even give it that much gas. Parked it I remember when I parked it, went back and forth because it was a lot, a car lot, not that big. Just start going back. Forward and back, forward and back, and then I popped the hood and I saw that 32 valve. Obviously, I was a kid, I didn't know that much, but I saw the big heads with the supercharger, and I was like, wow, 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 wow. Fast forward 3 years after. So the next year when I'm 15, 2007, I get my restricted license. By 16, I had my first car, and I had my license, which was a Civic hatchback, but I've always wanted a Mustang. End up buying, by 09, I bought my first Mustang, which was a 2000 Mustang GT Red. Made a video of that car. I'm gonna leave a link top here so you guys can see it, check it out. I took it from stock to supercharged, but I always wanted one of these cars. By 2012, 2011, I have my daughter. And by 2012, I buy my 3-valve Mustang GT. Great car, on 05. Really liked it. Put rims, exhaust, and all these things. And then Terminator Cobras weren't coming. I thought Terminator Cobras was going to come down in price by 2010, 2011. So they're out of my budget. They're starting to get a little bit older, 10 years. And so it's a little bit hard for banks to finance. And I was like, man, I don't know when I'm get one of those cars. Oh, I completely forgot. So in 2009, actually no, 2008, my friend, Daido, if you're watching this, thank you. Thank you, thank you. I know I said thank you, but thank you. He buys a red 2003 Cobra. So, let me give you the story of this car. He buys this car, 2008, and I remember the very first time that I saw it in person, I was fixated when I saw this car, because they were doing a head work to a 5.0 Mustang, and my friends were working on the side, and I was just staring at the engine of the Cobra. I want to say for a good hour, I was just looking at it, sitting down in the car, and just visualizing myself with my Terminator. I mean, it was just that type of moment. I want to say a few months after, we go to the racetrack, to the 8th mile, and he's taking the Cobra, bone stock, maybe he had a filter, whatever. He took it down the 8th and he made a few passes. And when we leave the track, I had my Civic. And I always wanted to ride on this car. Remember, 2 years before that, I drove the Terminator, but I didn't give it gas, didn't hear the blower, didn't do anything. I just parked it pretty much. And he says, "Hey, you want to come with me? You want to be the passenger?" I was like, "Sure, but I got my car." He said, "Hey, my friend could drive it." I gave my keys to a guy that I didn't even know. I was like, "Look, we're gonna meet at the gas station down there. Can you drive my car?" And he took the car. Didn't even know the guy. He could have stole the car, but I just loved the car so much that I had to ride in it. And so we left the track. We go down Okeechobee Road, which is a long straightaway road. There's a lot of street racing down in Miami, and he punched it. Stock pulley. We went up to like 120, and I remember just hearing that supercharger, just hearing that noise that I heard for so many years on the video, hearing it for real on the car. I was like, this is the most beautiful sound that I ever heard. This is it. This is it. This is it. This is the moment. And I want to say a year after that, he got a porta blower pulley. The car made 496 to the wheels, and we went and we raced a turbo Cobra. It wasn't tuned right, so we spanked him. But the point was, we went from 40 to like 140 on that portico. And on that moment, I said, "This is the car that I want. I don't know when I'm gonna get it, but this is the car. Like, there's no doubts on my mind. This is the car that I want. This is it. This is the car." Then I sold my 3-valve, my 05 3-valve in 2017. Then had a turbo Sonata. And on the back of my mind, I don't know when I'm gonna get, because Cobras are starting to go a little bit up in price, and I don't know when I'm gonna buy my 03 Cobra. I truly don't know when I'm gonna buy it, but I remain positive. I remain thinking that one day it's gonna happen. There was something about these cars. For some period, I thought that I was gonna buy a 5.0 Mustang. So I thought that I was gonna get an 11 through 14 5.0s. They make a little bit more power than this car. Bone stock on paper, right? To the wheels, they make about the same power. Crank, pretty much the same power. One is normally aspirated. This is supercharged. So I thought I was gonna get that. A little bit more modern, more. A little bit better for daily activities. Was obviously I couldn't have two cars back then, so I thought I was gonna get that. Then I thought about getting a Shelby GT500. So the prices were coming down on Shelby's. Cobras were pretty much high. Here's how I came to the conclusion that, oh no, you're not gonna get a Shelby. You're not gonna get a 5.0. You're gonna get an 03 Cobra. And it was based on this. The feeling that I felt riding my friend's Cobra on 09, I never felt that before in another car. I've ridden Evos, GTRs, been on GT with a 03 Cobra motor turbo. That was, by the way, that was the fastest car that I ever been on my life. That was scary. Like, literally, it was freaking unreal how fast our car was. We're beating bikes, beating all type of cars, nitros, Mercedes, and supercharged Mercedes and all that. But well, that's for another story. So I knew that the way that I felt in that car. And every time, because these cars, they only became more rare. I didn't see them on the street. You'll never see a Terminator on the street. Those are very rare occasions you'll see one. So 2020 came around, and 2020 was a tough year for a lot of people, including myself. But on March, I made one of the best decisions ever in my life, and that was to buy this car. I still remember the day when I saw the ad. I called my wife and I'm like, oh my God. She was like, what? I was like, oh my God. And she said, what? Speak, because speak. You don't know what I'm seeing. What are you seeing? What, something happened to you? I was like, no, I'm seeing this 03 Cobra, just like I envisioned, with just a pulley, 40,000 miles. We have to see it. We have to see it. We have to see Facebook Marketplace. I've never go to Facebook Marketplace. Never even heard about it. This is and this is the ironic part. Remember my friend who gave me the ride with the 03 Cobra with the porta blower? Well, I had my black 04 GT. Many of you OGs remember it. That's when I started making videos on YouTube about my black GT. I had an X-Pipe, and you guys heard this story if you see my video of claiming I bought my dream car. I call him and I'm like, bro, I have this X-Pipe. He goes like, go to Facebook Marketplace. I think I saw one for sale. And look how weird life is. Because this is crazy. This is crazy. He's the one who told me to go to Facebook Marketplace to check for the X-Pipe. And I ended up buying this car. How does the universe work like that? You tell me. How? How is that even possible? The energies. I know everything is connected. I fell in love with this car, and to be honest, this car has given me so many. I've met so many amazing people on the journey, on the, let's say, 9 months that I've owned this car. And I've been able to grow this YouTube channel and create this community thanks to this car. And it's really a passion that, it's began 15 years ago, I want to say, with 05, when I started watching those YouTube videos about this car. And to have this car it's still surreal to this day, at least for me. And knowing that I have this car, it's just amazing. So that's why I love the Terminator Cobra, how I felt in love with this car. Here's my story. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I'm sorry if it's a little bit longer video, but I just want to take the time and share my story, share how I felt in love with this car. And let me know in the comments down below, guys. Well, what is your favorite car? How do you fall in love with it? And let's talk about all these things, because I think it's important to talk about cars, and us car people. We're different. We're different breed than the typical person who goes out and buy a car. To a lot of people, this is a piece of metal. To us, this represents way more than a piece of metal. This represents freedom. This represents when you're having a bad day, you just go out for a ride and you just feel better. You connect with people. But I surely love this car, and I hope I can keep it forever. And, I'm always gonna love this, cars. Guys, stay tuned. Going back to the track real soon. Chase that 11-second pass with the car. And I'll see you guys on the next one. And thank you for watching, like always.